Hey John, it's Dad. It's August, I think it's the 8th today, 2014. You're at swim and your mom and sister out shopping. Um, so this is your keyboard taken apart, and the power supply wasn't working, so it was very intermittent. So I took it apart and was able to see that this is the part right here that you plug into. Okay, so that's where your plug went in. It was actually around the back here, but I took it apart. So if you come down here and look right about here, I know that doesn't seem very focused right there, but there we go. So you can see that little piece. See if I can get in a little closer. See that little bit of movement in there? That silver piece? Right there by my thumbnail. Watch right there. See that? That's the problem. That's called a cold solder joint. So the solder is broken, and only when it's connected in the right place do the electrons flow. So I have my soldering iron and some solder, and I'm going to fix it. I'll show you how we do that. Now, you've probably never heard of a soldering iron, and that's okay. The soldering iron is just basically a piece of metal. It gets really hot. It's plugged in. It's got an electrical plug here, and it dissipates the energy from the plug in the wall in terms of heat in the very tip of this thing. It looks like a pencil there, huh? So what we're going to do is I'm going to come over here. If you touch this, it'll definitely burn you. Sorry, there we go. So what we want to do is we want to remelt that solder and get it to flow. It's called flow, and that will reestablish the connection. Now I'm going to try to set the camera down here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is get a little solder here. This is solder that I'm bringing in from a roll that I have, and I use that. It's got stuff called rosin inside, and the rosin actually helps the solder to melt and flow. If you look close, you may see a little bit of smoke and boiling coming off. That's going to be the rosin. There we go. It's starting to flow. Now we can't do too much because we don't want to get, oh, there we go. It's going really nice. We don't want to get it so it's touching anything else electrical, because then the whole thing will short out and nothing will work. So let me just hit it with another little piece here. So the goal is just to remelt the solder that's there with some of this fresh solder so that it doesn't move anymore. So, oops, I'm sorry, I moved the whole unit over and now you can't see. Anyway, what I'm trying to show you is how we used to fix stuff. You may have heard the term throwaway society. One of the things we do if something's broken like this, people don't look into it and figure out what's wrong and fix it. They just throw it away, buy a new board. Anyway, we might be good here. So what we can do is move that. Not getting any movement. I'm still getting a little movement down there. So I'm going to focus underneath, right in this area. It's one of those things that requires a bit of patience. Okay, I'll get just to flow down here. That's the word that we use. Get the solder to flow. Let's see how that was. I don't feel it moving anymore. And that's not burn, that's actually the rosin from inside the solder. We can wipe that away. A little isopropyl alcohol works really good, but that's okay. I've got a little washcloth here. So I'm not seeing any movement there, John. I think your piano's fixed. I'll put it back together and we'll see how it goes.